Hello, class. Caught me reading up on our favorite subject, history. Historians such as you and I have to research and re-research topics to figure out new mysteries in history. And we do this by examining primary sources. Historians, archaeologists, and anthropologists all use primary sources to get an insight into the time period that they are studying. So, let's use primary sources to see what we can discover about history. There are tons of sources available when trying to do research, and primary sources are always better than secondary sources. So you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a primary source? A primary source is any evidence or artifact that was created during the time period which you are studying. So, my fellow historians, if you guys were studying the American Revolution, you might look at the Declaration of Independence to really understand what exactly was going on during that time. Some examples of primary sources include diaries, journals, government documents, pictures, even music. All of these are artifacts stemming from the time period, which makes them a primary source. Secondary sources are a little bit different story. They present information that was originally shown and used as evidence in an earlier document. A great example of this would actually be your guys' textbook. Now that we know exactly what a primary source is, let's figure out how to use them. When attempting to solve historical mysteries, there are certain things that you should definitely look out for. That was close. Now you probably won't have to look out for any boulders, but you will always need to be aware of these certain things. First thing you need to look out for is what kind of source is it. And as I said earlier, it could be anything from a diary to a government document. All of them are very reliable, but all of them also have their own independent use. The next question to consider is who is the author? Knowing background on who wrote a primary source is extremely helpful. Whether the writer was a witness with a first-hand account of the event or simply has some sort of relationship to it, the reliability varies. The next question to always think about is when was it written? Primary sources are used for insight to a time period. They're only useful if they're actually written in that time period. They must be contemporary to the period, and you also must know the historical context of what else was happening in the world during this time. And the last question to consider is who is the audience? Primary sources exist for a reason, to express some sort of idea. Whether a personal diary noting private thoughts or a public speech publicizing political views, the audience affects the author's expression. Together, today we're going to discover just how exactly the Haitian Revolution was influenced by both the American and French Revolution that occurred just about the same time through the use of analyzing primary documents.
Indy, teach me about primary source documents.
The first question we ask ourselves when we're examining a primary source is what kind of source is this? This document in particular is a constitution or a founding legal document of a nation. A primary source such as this has great reliability when used in research by historians. The next question we should consider is, when was this document written? As you can see, this was written on May 20th, 1805. Now, the Haitian Revolution occurred from 1791 to 1804, definitely passing our test at whether this is contemporary to the Haitian Revolution or not. The next thing we must examine is the context going on historically in the world. The American Revolution began in 1776, while the French Revolution began in 1789. This shows quite possible influence and also increases the reliability of the source. After, we must find out who wrote this document. The authors of this document are considered Haiti's founding fathers and were legally constituted as organs to the citizens that they represented. As you can also see, Haiti was governed by a leader named an emperor. Finally, we must determine who the audience is that this document is intended for. This document is written to all the citizens of the new Empire of Haiti and is to be immediately executed on the whole. This source's widespread appeal displays clearly the attitudes of the Constitution's audience, increasing the reliability even further. Now that answers the questions of whether the Haitian Constitution is a legitimate primary source or not. And since we've just covered the American and French Revolutions, let's discover just what possible influence and evidence we can see within the document itself. One example is equality in the eyes of the law, a huge principle in both the French and American Revolution. Further evidence of the French and American Revolution's influence can be seen on the freedom of religion established by the Haitian Constitution. Another is the sacredness of property to the citizens. As we saw earlier, the leader of the new Haitian nation is called an emperor. This evidence clearly shows that the leader is elected and the position is not hereditary. Based on the primary source questions of what, when, the author, and audience, along with the new evidence that we've discovered, the Constitution that Haiti produced proves some sort of influence of the American and French Revolution on the Haitian Revolution. These factors can also help determine bias within primary sources. Bias can be considered the watering down of facts in favor of opinion or other unrelated information. A good historian must always ensure the reliability of their primary documents. So now that you guys know about primary documents, go out and explore history's mysteries and use those primary documents.